Welcome back to Deep.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
Thanks for watching D2 Wrenchworks and DIY, guys. Today's video is quite a hidden bike gem. Not only is it an awesome, absolutely sick titanium bike frame, by far one of my favorite bikes, actually the most favorite bike I've had so far. I've put a few hundred miles on it. It is way too small for me, but man, the ride quality is just absolutely astounding. Nowadays, everybody wants to be the contrarian and say, titanium bikes aren't worth what they're supposed to be, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to get into all that and more, especially on why this Airborne is such a hidden bike gem. So let's get into it. Now, my favorite part, by far, the Valkyrie frame. In Norse mythology, this is a pretty cool story about Valkyrie is one of the women that would escort you to Valhalla, you know, Odin's hall. And I don't know if you're into that stuff. It's kind of cool to escort, you know, it's like the person that escorts all the dead to the celebration hall. This kind of reminds me of this bike, really, because it gives you such a good ride. I just feel like everybody behind you is dying. The titanium, so shocking to me to see videos on YouTube about people saying titanium isn't worth it and how carbon fiber is a better deal. It is a cheaper ride, bang for the buck, without a doubt. I will not argue that. But I will say titanium offers way better features. Sometimes you don't always just want to be a hard-nosed rider that does it on aluminum 80s Cannondale frame that's incredibly stiff and rattles your teeth out, all this, you know. Sometimes it's better to have a little more coin in your ride, and the titanium frame, this is something nobody will ever talk about. Carbon will dampen it, and it does have a great stiffness, and it is very light. Titanium is going to be a little heavier, but the durability on this frame, without a doubt, you are 5 times more durable than your typical 6061 aluminum. How about that right off the bat? Now, if you want to talk about longevity, there's actually a scale for this. There's a way to measure this and a test you do. It's a Thompson scale, and it goes by GPA. Titanium has a GPA of 120. That means all the rocks you hit and everything, titanium and aluminum, every bike frame you buy is supposed to have a shelf life, essentially, of how many bumps and hits it can take, and they estimate that and how many miles you think you'll get. Anyways, this is how they measure that, and with 120 being titaniums, aluminum is only at 69. So even if you have one of the best aluminum frames, it is never going to last as long as titanium, just pure miles per mile. This titanium frame is also going to be 60% denser. And this is where the frame, I mean, I am not even kidding you, it just soaks up everything. One of my things that got me into road riding was a really nice Trek 5200. I have a ton of these builds on my channel. I absolutely love them. Like I said, carbon fiber, best bang for the buck. But man, it brought back that feeling 15 years ago when I got on this bike. And like I said, this is a 50 centimeter. I should ride about a 53. It's quite a bit smaller. It's still, man, it just, the ride quality is shockingly different. It is so nice. The density of the tubes gives you the ability to soak up everything. Whereas carbon fiber gives you still almost that, it dampens it better than aluminum. Any sort of road bumps or vibrations, or you even just feel a driveline noise as you're really getting into pedaling. It kind of makes this almost whistling noise. I don't really know how to describe it, but stiff bikes will really give it to you if you know what I'm talking about. And this just crushes it all. Not only that, but the frame is amazing feeling. It climbs like no other. I mean, the bike is 18 pounds total, so it's very good for what it's at. But of course, I mean, I built a CAD 10 that was 14 pounds. So you could get carbon fiber much, much lighter if you want to be a weight weenie. But at 18 pounds, man, it doesn't feel sloppy in the turns or anything like that. It feels like it's absolutely on rails. I mean, I just can't even explain how fun it is to ride this bike. If this was my size, I would never sell it. I wish I had a way to make this a little bit bigger, to tell you the truth. That's a lot to talk about titanium. Let's get into what makes this a hidden bike gem. In 1997, Airborne opened their company. This is 2002, 2003 is when you could find these titanium frames. They have a Zephyr, a Manhattan Project. This one is a Valkyrie, obviously. So you could find any of these between that era. It's a very short era because for whatever reason, Airborne split to Airborne European and Airborne American, and they sold their American license to Huffy. Huffy went on to, I guess, raise the rates, or I don't know what really went on. Maybe things didn't do so great in the U.S. market in the early 2000s when they're introducing these premium frames. They were competing directly against the 5200s that I love so much and I just spoke about, and you can find all over my channel because Lance Armstrong is crushing it in those at this time. Steroids. But they had a big competition there, and they must not have done as great as they thought they would. Huffy takes the license back. They end up turning it into Flight. Airborne European is now known as Von Nichols. They don't take any warranties on these from original owners, though. It's all quite a bit of a mess. And they're very hard to find because I guess they didn't sell a ton for their era. But not just being a hidden bike gem, they are totally awesome bikes. The welding, absolutely gorgeous. I wish the frame was polished if I was going to be picky, but I do know it probably only complicates the process on welding. Welding titanium is extremely difficult. It takes somebody very, very talented. That's why all the welds all along this whole frame, they look absolutely gorgeous. Even where they cap off the little sections here at the dropouts, just very quality work. As you can tell, this is almost boutique-like kind of stuff. Just very, very good fit and finish. Overall, can't believe how happy I am with it. Of course, I wanted to go through and just add some nice little fit and features and all of that. I got my cool little Rasta bar tape on there. Some of my favorite stuff to do. I've been using that for years, and some of my bright colored bikes, you know, and I got the gold chain and the rims. Got to get a little flash to it, right? I have a Chris King headset on there. By far one of the best things you can get in the headset game. And that actually came off of my Navara mountain bike video you could check out if you haven't seen that already. I have a titanium seat post as well. Very cool. And for our saddle, this is a Physique Aron. I don't really know how you say that. I'm just guessing. But this also, it's a carbon fiber shell. The Aron is a very, very good saddle. Super lightweight. And it has titanium rails on there as well. So stick with the cool titanium theme. Okay, now for the driveline. This bike actually came, you could buy it as a frame set, you could buy it as a complete Ultegra version or a complete Shimano 105 version. This was the 105 version when I first got it. It had the later second generation, which was all blacked out. Pretty cool to see blacked out drivetrain stuff. Not that common unless you go SRAM, which is very good for what it was. But to be honest, you get a big, big upgrade when you go Ultegra, if you ask me personally. The cost difference isn't nearly as much nowadays, though it is getting hard to find the shifter grips for 9-speed, so be careful on that. Fortunately for me, all of this is in excellent condition. I stuck pretty much with the theme before. Front derailleur, crankset, rear derailleur, shifters, all are Ultegra. The shifters are the second generation as well. These are 6510s. They'll say Ultegra down the handle. Pretty neat little setup to go onto it. Complements the bike great. Great way to lose weight as well. This is probably some of the most durable stuff and lightweight stuff you can get for the money on the market today. Good way to stick to the theme of the original build. Great way to have a good ride. And reliability. We followed that up to go on with the wheel set. The wheel set is a Mavic Open Pro wheel set. These are great wheels if you are a heavier rider or if you do long rides, because having a broken spoke is one of the worst things if you're trying to do tons and tons of miles. The great news is we have eyeletted rims and we also have 32 spokes per wheel. That is a huge bonus. We have brass nipples. You don't have to worry about aluminum corroding and breaking. These are in for the long haul. And the best part is the weight is shockingly low for what it is because we have Ultegra hubs front and rear to match this. These are also the 9-speed style to go along with the whole group set. This actually came off a different bike, so kind of perfect. They all came in together on here, but the weight comes out to only 1,850 grams. You just can't beat that. As I mentioned, we have the Ultegra stuff. I did want to say this is an Octolink for people who aren't familiar with the 9-speed stuff. This is the Octolink 105 bottom bracket actually that came with it. I don't have an Ultegra. They are getting a little pricey now, so if you run into that issue, you can't find one, just go 105. It's not much difference in weight. Essentially the same bottom bracket, but it is Octolink version 1. You do need to look up the difference between 1 and 2 if you're trying to match your own bottom brackets and cranks. That's really the only thing I wanted to mention. Ultegra brakes, some of the best stuff you can get. Put on some brand new Shimano pads. Those are cheap, about $20 a pair. You'll have some of the best stopping power out there. You don't really need to worry. If you ask me, Shimano pads clear water. Even I'm a heavier guy, you know, but they clear water off the rims very easily. We got a nice Kestrel fork that came with the bike as well, Kestrel EMS. So that's pretty much the whole build, and I hope you guys really enjoyed it. For the cockpit, I just kept it super nice and simple. My Uno stem, I use these all the time, lighter than carbon. They're like 120 grams. And I think I have some Cannondale fire bars on here. Some aluminum ones, actually. So even not balling out, just using traditional stuff, finding everything on a budget. These are actually a couple of bikes I put together. And, using some good stuff, a 9-speed budget cassette and a chain. And you'll be riding high, man. Thanks for watching Detour Rental Works and DIY, guys. Check out my Patreon if you'd like to support the channel. Have a good day. Bye.